is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
The search is on for these three people. They are wanted for the killing of an employee at a Subway restaurant. Now, police are also trying to figure out whether those same suspects opened fire earlier this month at another Subway location. Good afternoon. I'm Meredith Barrick. The man who worked at the Subway on North Shadeland near East 75th Street was dead by the time police arrived last night. Police tell us it happened when three men we showed you, all dressed in black with black face masks and black backpacks, tried to rob the store. The men ran from the store after the shooting. Less than 4 weeks ago, there was gunfire at another Subway on the northeast side, just about 10 miles from last night's shooting. A female employee of the Subway at 38th and Post Road was critically wounded when she tried to stop a robbery at her store. Now, here is another look at those three suspects. If you think you know anything about them or these shootings, police want to hear from you. You can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. That is 317-262-TIPS.
All right, you want to sit here or do you want to leave?
Why am I moving in the middle of class? He legit stopped the class to try to move me. I've been back here on this PowerPoint.
Are you being disruptive in the class?
No, I'm not doing nothing. The whole damn class is here. It's cool. It's cool. You know what? I'm gonna leave.
He's been on our work the whole time.
Last week, that confrontation between a professor and a student has others at Ball State University taking action. The professor called university police after the student of color refused a request to change seats. Other students have said there have been a number of prior complaints about that same professor. Within the past hour, dozens of students walked out of their classes at Ball State to stand in solidarity with Sultan Benson, the student in the midst of the confrontation. Ball State's president was among those attending the walkout. He has previously said the school's dean met with the professor and that he will be monitored moving forward. But Benson says that is not enough.
You gonna call the police while I'm paying attention to what you're teaching? You gonna call the police while the rest of these students out here trying to learn? Not only was I put at risk, because we all know how situations with the police go with young African-American men, correct? Not only was I at risk, the rest of my class was at risk.
Student groups are demanding that the tenured professor retire and go through sensitivity training. They also want more conflict training for all faculty members, and they are also calling for a new student-led committee to advocate for issues important to the student body. We will continue to follow that story. But right now, we want to check in on the weather. A gloomy day out there. Temps still sitting at about 30 degrees where they have been all morning long, Todd. Not going to see much of a change for the rest of the day.
Yeah, they've only gone up a degree or two since this morning when we hit our low temperature, and they're only going up another couple degrees here this afternoon for your high. We're at 33 in Indy right now, 32 in Bloomington, 32 in Lafayette, and Muncie sitting at 33 degrees. Still dealing with some reduced visibility, especially north of Indianapolis here. It's not terrible. You have to get to about 1 mile or lower for the dense fog to really become an issue on the roadways, but certainly reduced. And as you look from downtown to the north, you can see this overcast sky, and there's a little bit of patchy drizzle here or there and or a few flurries. It's not going to amount to anything or cause any issues out there, but it's just contributing to this overall very damp feeling that we have out there, and that's making those temperatures that I just showed you feel even a little bit cooler. And on the satellite radar picture, obviously gray with the clouds everywhere, and you can just see a few specks of white here and there across the area, and that's those flurries that are making their way through. So you definitely need to bundle up if you're going to be out and about. You do not need to have that umbrella, though. That is the good news. Temperatures go up maybe another 2 to 3 degrees, up to 34, 35 degrees, and that's about all we can do this afternoon. And this evening, the good news is with the clouds in place, the temperatures don't drop off dramatically either, as we'll be right around 31 degrees by 10 p.m. Another cloudy day tomorrow, but then some changes as we get into the latter half of the week. More on that, Meredith, coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. At the State House, lawmakers will decide whether to make it legal for the state attorney general to prosecute crimes at the local level if local prosecutors refuse to do so. A state Senate committee approved a bill today from Republican Senator Mike Young. It's a direct response to the decision by Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears to no longer prosecute simple marijuana possession cases. During the testimony today, the Attorney General's office was one of the bill's few supporters.
I would certainly be frustrated, too, if I were a legislator and elected prosecutors were treating the laws this body passed as optional or mere suggestions rather than the rule of law.
We very firmly believe in the ability of a local prosecutor to make local decisions about how they're going to run their office. They are an elected official. And so by the framework of if you're unhappy with how they're doing their job, you can vote them out of office, that certainly applies here.
Prosecutor Mears has said he is looking to change how marijuana laws are enforced in Marion County because they disproportionately impact people of color. It's at least somewhat more likely that the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump will feature new witnesses. It's after Republicans who have been defending the president were blindsided by allegations from his former national security advisor about Trump's demand that Ukraine investigate his political opponents. ABC's Serena Marshall has more.
President Trump's legal team plowing ahead with the same defense, despite the explosive allegations reported in the New York Times from a manuscript by the president's former national security advisor.
Nothing in the Bolton revelations, even if true, would rise to the level of an abuse of power or an impeachable offense.
John Bolton served President Trump for 17 months and is known as an avid note taker, reportedly writing in his upcoming book that the president told him directly he was withholding nearly $400 million in military aid from Ukraine until they agreed to investigate Joe Biden and his son. Sources telling ABC the White House told Republican senators that the impeachment lawyers arguing on behalf of the president knew Bolton's book had been turned over for classification review, but were not aware of its contents. The president denies the Times' reporting.
Well, I haven't seen a manuscript, but I can tell you nothing was ever said to John Bolton.
But the claim made in the unpublished manuscript furthering the calls for Bolton to be a witness in the trial.
President Trump and Ambassador Bolton said diametrically opposed things. Only one of them is willing to testify under oath. Who do you believe?
Key GOP moderates remain open to that position.
I'd like to hear from John Bolton.
The White House making the case to them behind closed doors, however, that witnesses would simply prolong the trial and not change the outcome. That argument appearing to carry weight with wavering Republican senators.
That's unanimous.
The president's team is only expected to take 2 to 3 hours today as they present their closing remarks. Next up, the senators get 16 hours to ask their questions. By the day everyone's watching for, the up or down vote on witnesses, likely occurring on Friday. At the Capitol, Serena Marshall, ABC News.
They are trying to stop the spread before it gets here. Next, action taken by the federal government as China grapples with a public health crisis. And in just a few hours, he's back. Before you see him on the floor for the very first time in more than a year, we'll show you how you can help welcome back Vic. Todd.
And Meredith, we're locked in with the clouds across central Indiana right now, and they're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. There's another storm system off to our south. We'll let you know how that's going to impact our forecast going forward throughout the remainder of the week. Coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
Case of Homes every Sunday morning at 11:30.
It is not widespread in the U.S., but the federal government is working to get U.S. citizens out of China as that country tries to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Thousands of cases have been confirmed in China, and as ABC's Gio Benitez tells us, the U.S. government is trying to keep people from traveling there for now.
China is now reporting more than 100 deaths, and now there's a new warning from the State Department urging Americans to reconsider travel to all of China as this emergency grows. Take a look at this new video now. Emergency workers wearing masks and protective gear as they treat patients. Now, Chinese state media released time-lapse video of a new hospital under construction to deal with the crisis in America. The CDC says there are 5 confirmed cases and at least 110 possible cases across 26 states, and they say there's no evidence that people are contagious if they don't show any symptoms. Now the U.S. government is increasing staffing at 20 airports that contain quarantine facilities in an effort to screen passengers arriving from China. And we know right now that health officials are working on a vaccine, but that could take months, even years. Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
Gio, thank you. It is moving slowly, but the case against Harvey Weinstein presses forward. Next, an update from Court TV on another woman who says she was raped by the movie mogul. And you might be surrounded by people at the office, but that doesn't mean you can't be lonely at work. We'll show you some things you can do to connect with the people around you. And, well, take a look at this. There's not much to see out there. It's a cloudy, gloomy day here in central Indiana. This is a view of downtown to the north. Like I just said, can't see much out there. Will this last throughout the week? Meteorologist Todd Clausen will let us know coming up in our Storm Team 6 forecast.
To Keller. Keller and Keller. This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
I'm Ted Rollins. Today on Court TV, our continuing coverage of the Harvey Weinstein rape trial. On Monday, jurors heard from Mimi Halle, a former production assistant who says Weinstein assaulted her in his Manhattan apartment 14 years ago.
He pushed me down. He held me down by my arms and, no, stay, like that. And I said, no. And at that point, started realizing what was actually happening, and I'm being raped.
On cross-examination, Halle admitted to having sex with Weinstein 16 days after the alleged rape. The disgraced movie producer is facing 5 counts of sexual assault in all. Weinstein claims that all of his encounters were consensual. If he's convicted, he could face the rest of his life in prison. We'll have continuing coverage of the Weinstein trial throughout the day on Court TV. Now back to you.
You can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. You might be around a lot of people at work, and yet there's a chance you could be lonely at the same time. A new study from insurance company Cigna says there was an increase over the last year in workers saying they were lonely. Some say a lack of social support or meaningful interactions was the reason. Others say they don't have balance in their daily activities, like working too much or not sleeping enough. Other issues included negative feelings about personal relationships and overall poor mental or physical health. Also, if you work remotely from home, that could also leave you feeling lonesome.
People have decreased their social interactions and they're just feeling super isolated and lonely. They may have an inability to connect with job interviewers for their next job. You work from home, maybe you join a local co-working space or go to the library and just try to have more interaction with people.
Doctors say lonely people are more likely to miss work because of stress or an illness. Their productivity and quality of work tends to be lower, and they also have a higher turnover rate. For the first time in years, the IRS has overhauled the W-4. They say they're trying to make the federal income withholding form more simple to understand and fill out. The change reflects the new tax code Congress approved in 2017. The new form has been divided into 5 steps, and you can skip questions that don't apply to your situation. One major change is that it took away allowances because the new tax law eliminated personal exemptions. You only need to fill out a new W-4 if you started a new job since the new year, but tax specialists say you should review your withholdings each year to make sure you aren't paying too much or too little in taxes. Here at 12:18, man, Todd, the past 2 days, they've just kind of been stagnant weather-wise. There's really been no precipitation. There's been no sunshine, unfortunately. It's just kind of been gray and sitting in the 30s.
You know, we're just kind of stuck. So we've had a lot of rain this month, so the ground's been very, very wet. And then we haven't had a whole lot of sunshine to dry the ground out, at least over the last week or so. And as far as the temperatures go, it's within the last week and a half that we've been dealing with the only below normal temperatures this entire month, and that's due to more in the way of cloud cover. So the month started off with temperatures above normal. In fact, the first 16 days, all the boxes in red were above normal. Then we've had 5 below normal days and 1 average day so far this month. And as we round out the week, I think we'll start to get the temperatures back above average. Today's probably going to be below as we go into the afternoon hours. I really don't see much more in the way of warming, but we haven't had much snow this month, only 0.3 of an inch. 33 degrees, that's the current temperature. The winds, they are out of the west at 3 miles per hour right now, and temperatures anywhere you go, they're really within just a couple degrees of each other. There's no real big difference, and that's because we all just have the overcast skies no matter where we are. 32 in Bloomington, 29 in Crawfordsville, 32 in Greenfield. Muncie currently sitting at 33 degrees. We'll just go up another couple degrees here for your afternoon highs. 35 in Indy, 37 in Columbus, 34 will be the high temperature up in the Peru area. So the clouds have been in place. There's been a little bit of patchy drizzle, a few flakes. I went out for my lunch break earlier, and I had to throw the windshield windshield wipers on just a couple times, and that was just about it. So it's nothing that you probably need to carry the umbrella around for. Just don't be shocked if you continue to see a little drizzle this afternoon, as we're just locked in with this very damp weather pattern, and you can see the clouds extend all the way back off to our west. Pretty good storm system here with some heavy snow in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. This is actually going to bypass us to the south, and then it will become a major East Coast storm. But here in central Indiana, we will avoid any significant precipitation from that. The clouds hopefully will try to thin a little bit this afternoon, but I wouldn't count on any sunshine in this forecast. But if you do have evening plans, and of course, Devour Indy is going on, so you might be heading out to dinner. Temperatures will be right around freezing with mostly cloudy skies. Now, tomorrow is a day very similar to today, but tomorrow is the last day of this 3-day stretch with all the clouds in place and the drizzle. About 35 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Once we get to Thursday, I think we finally work some sunshine back into the forecast with a high temperature of 39 degrees. The clouds come back over the weekend, though, but it does warm up into the 40s. One thing we'll have to keep an eye on is late Saturday night into Sunday morning. There could be the potential of a little wintry mix across the areas. Temperatures dip close to freezing, but it's going to be a close call with those temperatures right around 32. But beyond that storm system, we do warm up. Look at Monday, 54 degrees with partly cloudy skies.
What a way to kick off February.
So, yeah, you know, Groundhog Day, of course, on Sunday. So we'll have to see if he sees a shadow or not.
All right. Raphael is convinced we are going to pay for it here in the next few weeks.
I've been trying to walk him off the ledge.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, after spending more than a year recovering from a devastating injury, Victor Oladipo will return to the court for the Pacers tomorrow. On Monday, fans flocked to Bankers Life Fieldhouse to sign a Welcome Back Vic banner.
Was so pleased when the Pacers got him. That was kind of a trade everybody thought, oh no, and then look where that's grown into. So Victor, hope he can come back and I don't say blend in, because the team is really foreign right now, but I can't wait to see him with some of these other young players, and it's going to be exciting.
If you didn't get the chance to sign the Welcome Back Vic banner yesterday, you have another chance right now. The banner is at the Fieldhouse until 5 p.m. today. When we get back, it is time for our Pet of the Week. It's been more than 30 years since Reggie Miller was drafted to the Indiana Pacers. And guess what? Today's your lucky day to draft this Reggie into your household. We have more with this good boy coming right up after the break. We'll be right back.
Get Stewart. Get started.
All right, Colleen Walker from Indy Humane is with us with our Pet of the Week. Meredith introduced you there to Reggie, and he can jump just as high as Reggie Miller back in the day, and probably still nowadays, but he is an energetic, a 1-year-old pup. And Colleen, tell us all about Reggie.
Yeah, so Reggie came to us as a stray. He has been adopted out a few times, and we've discovered that he's not great with other dogs. So if he would have to go to an only household with an only pet. But he is really, really sweet with his humans. He's, as you can tell, very, very energetic.
He is. He's playing with his toys. He likes to jump on you a little bit. So he needs to be the only dog, though, in the household. And as Colleen mentioned, probably not the best to be around children. But he likes the attention, right? And he's kind of a, you said, a border collie mix. He's from that herding breed. So if you like to run and need a running companion out on some of the trails here, or have a big backyard, he can give you the love and the attention and keep you active all at the same time.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
All right, and he's available right away once you get back, right?
Yep, his fee is just $175.
All right, sounds like a great deal to me. Let's get Reggie adopted here. Reggie, we wish you the best of luck. He's a sweet 1-year-old pup. All right, take a look at your 7-day planning forecast here. Lots of clouds around throughout the day today and tomorrow, unfortunately. So Sunday all the way through Wednesday this week, all the days have been pretty similar. Thursday, though, is the best bet for some sunshine across the area. Saturday night into Sunday could be a light wintry mix. We'll keep an eye on it for you, but then warmer temperatures to start next week.
Todd, thank you. And thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. Have a great rest of your afternoon.